Jake Miller gripped the controls of his cargo ship as warning lights flashed red across the dashboard. The engine was making terrible sounds, like metal grinding against metal. Black smoke filled the cockpit, making him cough hard. "Come on, baby. Just hold together a little longer," he whispered to his ship. Jake had been flying cargo runs for 8 years, but he had never seen his ship break down this badly. The engine gave one final loud bang and died completely. Jake's ship started falling toward the space station below. He could see the large, white building getting bigger and bigger through his front window. His hands moved fast across the controls, trying to start the backup systems. Nothing worked. The ship was going down hard. Jake grabbed his emergency kit and strapped himself tight into his seat. The space station was rushing up to meet him now. He could see strange symbols on the side of the building. This was not a human station. The crash was violent. Metal screamed as his ship hit the station's landing bay. Jake felt his ribs crack from the impact. Pain shot through his left leg like fire. Something warm ran down his face from a cut on his head. Then everything went black. When Jake woke up, he was lying in a bed that felt too soft. Bright white lights shone down from above. The air smelled clean, like flowers and medicine mixed together. He tried to sit up, but pain exploded in his chest. A groan escaped his lips. "Please do not move, Jake Miller." The voice was soft and musical, but strange. "You have suffered serious injuries." Jake turned his head slowly to see who was talking. Standing next to his bed was the most unusual creature he had ever seen. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, with smooth silver skin that looked like metal but moved like flesh. Her face was long and narrow, with large black eyes that seemed kind. 2 thin antennae moved gently on top of her head. "What are you?" Jake asked, his voice rough and dry. "I am Zaravel of the Cathani people. I am your medical caretaker." She moved closer to his bed with flowing, graceful steps. "You crashed into our medical station 3 days ago. We were not sure you would wake up." Jake tried to remember the crash. "My cargo, medical supplies. Yes, we found the supplies in your ship. Very useful materials. But let us focus on your healing now." Zaravel picked up a small device that glowed blue. She held it over Jake's chest and he felt a warm, tingling feeling. "How bad am I hurt?" Jake asked. 3 broken ribs. Internal bleeding that we have stopped. Your left leg bone was shattered in 2 places. Also cuts and bruises." Zaravel's antenna twitched as she spoke. For most species, these injuries would mean death or permanent disability. But humans are different. Jake looked down at his leg. It was wrapped in something that looked like silver cloth, but it pulsed with soft light. "Different how?" "You heal much faster than other species. Much stronger, too. In 3 days, your internal bleeding has stopped completely. Your ribs are already starting to mend. Most remarkable." Zaravel made notes on a device in her hands. Jake looked around the room. Through a large window, he could see other rooms with different kinds of patients. In one room, a huge creature covered in fur was lying very still. In another, a small blue being with 4 arms was connected to many tubes. "Are they all patients too?" Jake asked. "Yes. This is the best medical facility in this sector of space. Beings come from many star systems to receive our care." Zaravel followed his gaze. "The Thorian warrior has been here for 2 months with injuries like yours. The Vegan trader has been here even longer." 2 months? How long will I be here?" Zaravel's large black eyes seemed to study him carefully. "For a human? Perhaps 3 weeks, maybe less. Your species recovers with amazing speed." Over the next few days, Jake began to feel better. Zaravel visited him several times each day, checking his wounds and asking questions. She wanted to know about human medicine, human food, human exercise. She seemed very interested in how humans dealt with pain. "On my world, pain is something to avoid at all costs," she told him one day while changing the bandages on his leg. "But humans seem to push through pain in ways that surprise us." Jake watched other patients in the medical bay. The huge, furry creature, which Zaravel said was a Thorian, barely moved even after weeks of treatment. The blue vegan trader slept, most of the time. But Jake was already sitting up in bed eating solid food and asking when he could walk around. "When do I pay for all this?" Jake asked one day. "This must cost a lot of money." Zaravel paused in her work. Her antennae stopped, moving for a moment. "Your recovery is payment enough, Jake Miller." "What do you mean?" "Human patients are special. We learn much from treating your kind. Consider the medical care our payment for that learning." Jake thought this was strange, but he was grateful. He had heard that alien medical care cost huge amounts of money. Other species paid thousands of credits for treatment here. Every day, Jake felt stronger. His ribs stopped hurting when he breathed. The cuts on his face healed without leaving scars. His leg felt better each morning when he woke up. Zaravel seemed amazed by his progress. She brought other Cathani doctors to see him. They would stand around his bed, speaking in their musical language, and looking at him with their large, black eyes. "They are impressed by your healing," Zaravel explained when Jake asked about the visits. "Most species take much longer to recover from such trauma." On his 10th day in the medical bay, Jake was walking around his room. His leg was still weak, but it supported his weight. He felt almost normal again. "Incredible," Zaravel said when she saw him standing by the window. "Simply incredible. In 10 days you have healed what would take a Thorian 6 months." Jake smiled. "We humans are pretty tough, I guess." But as he watched Zaravel make notes on her device, Jake began to wonder why she was so interested in his recovery. And why did she seem to be recording everything he did? Something felt wrong, but Jake could not figure out what it was. All he knew was that his luck in crashing near a medical station run by the galaxy's best healers seemed almost too good to be true. On his 15th day at the medical station, Jake met Sam Torres. Sam was fixing a broken air filter in Jake's room when they started talking. "Another human," Sam said with a grin. "Don't see many of us out here in alien space." Sam was shorter than Jake, with dark hair and oil stains on his work clothes. He had been working on the station for 6 months, fixing machines and keeping the air systems running. "How did you end up here?" Jake asked. "My ship broke down near here. The Cathani hired me to work off my repair bill." Sam looked around the room carefully, then moved closer to Jake's bed. "Can I give you some advice?" "Sure." Sam lowered his voice. "Be careful what you say around them, and watch what they do when they think you're not looking." "What do you mean?" "I've seen 5 human patients come through here in the last 6 months. All of them had the same kinds of injuries you have. All of them healed fast and left happy." Sam's face looked worried. "But I've also seen things that don't make sense." Jake sat up straighter. "What kind of things?" "They make copies of all your medical scans, not just for your records, but for other departments. I've seen Cathani scientists studying human blood samples under microscopes, and they ask a lot of questions about human biology." Before Jake could respond, Zaravel entered the room. Sam quickly went back to working on the air filter. "Good morning, Jake Miller. How do you feel today?" Zaravel's musical voice sounded as friendly as always. "Much better. My leg hardly hurts at all now." "Excellent." She ran her glowing device over his leg. "The bone has healed remarkably well. In 2 more weeks, you will be completely recovered." As she worked, Jake noticed that she seemed to be recording everything. Every measurement, every sound the device made, every reaction he had to her tests. "Zaravel, can I ask you something?" "Of course. How do human bones heal compared to other species?" Her antennae twitched slightly. "Human bones are very interesting. They not only heal but often become stronger than before the injury. Most species' bones remain weak at the breakpoint forever. And human muscles? Human muscles rebuild damaged tissue very quickly. A Thorian muscle that is badly injured never fully recovers its strength. But human muscles often become stronger after healing from trauma." Jake watched her face as she answered. She seemed excited talking about human healing, but also nervous. "Why are humans so different?" Zaravel paused in her work. "That is a very good question, Jake Miller. One that many species would like to understand better." After she left, Sam finished his work and came back to Jake's bed. See what I mean? Sam whispered. She's not just treating you, she's studying you. That night, Jake could not sleep. He kept thinking about what Sam had said. When he finally dozed off, he had strange dreams about being watched by large black eyes. The next morning, two Kithani doctors came to see Jake with Zaravel. They spoke in their own language while looking at his leg. What are they saying? Jake asked. They are impressed by your progress, Zaravel said. Dr. Nextool wants to know how human pain tolerance compares to other species. Pain tolerance? Yes. Most species would still be unconscious from injuries like yours, but you have been awake and alert almost from the beginning. The other doctors asked more questions through Zaravel. How much did it hurt when he moved? Did the pain get worse or better over time? How did he sleep with broken ribs? Jake answered their questions, but he felt uncomfortable. It seemed like they cared more about studying his pain than helping him feel better. Over the next few days, more doctors visited. They all asked similar questions about human healing, human strength, human endurance. Jake began to feel like a science experiment instead of a patient. When he asked Zaravel why so many doctors were interested in him, she said, "Human medical cases are very educational for us. We learn better ways to treat all species by understanding how humans heal." But Jake noticed that they never brought doctors to study the Thorian warrior or the vegan trader. Only the human patients got special attention. Sam visited Jake's room every day, usually to fix something. During these visits, he shared more strange observations. I saw them moving your blood samples to the research level yesterday, Sam said, while replacing a light bulb. Research level? Yeah, there are 3 levels below the medical bay. High security. I'm only allowed on the first research level to fix machines. Sam looked worried. I've seen strange things down there, Jake. Machines I don't recognize. Labs with equipment that looks more like weapons than medical devices. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of weapons? I don't know. But whatever they're doing down there, it involves human biology. I've seen documents with human anatomy charts and genetic sequences. That afternoon, Jake tried to access his medical records on the room's computer terminal. To his surprise, the files were classified above his access level. Why can't I see my own medical records? He asked Zaravel during her evening visit. She seemed nervous. Some information is kept private for security reasons. Standard procedure. Security? I'm just a cargo pilot with some broken bones. Yes, of course. But her antennae were moving, in a way Jake had learned meant she was uncomfortable. The next day, Jake was walking in the hallway when he overheard 2 Kithani doctors talking in broken human language. Human subject shows faster healing than predicted, one said. Bone density increased by 12% at fracture sites, the other replied. Dr. Vex Null wants complete genetic analysis before subject is released. Jake quickly walked back to his room, his heart racing. Subject? They were calling him a subject, not a patient. When Sam came to check the air system that afternoon, Jake told him what he had heard. Sam's face went pale. Dr. Vex Null is the head of research for the entire station, if he's personally interested. In your case, what does that mean? It means you're not just a patient who got lucky with free medical care. You're here for a reason, Jake. And I don't think it's a good one. That night, Jake lay awake staring at the ceiling. Everything Sam had told him was starting to make sense. The unusual interest in his healing, the constant questions about human biology, the classified medical records. He thought about his ship's engine failure. It had been working fine when he left the last station. The breakdown had been sudden and complete, like someone had sabotaged it. But that was impossible, wasn't it? Jake closed his eyes and tried to sleep, but he could not shake the feeling that he was in serious danger. The kind creature who had been healing him might not be what she seemed, and if that was true, then he needed to figure out what was really happening on this station before it was too late. Jake's chance came 3 days later when Sam offered to show him the maintenance tunnels. I need to check some pipes on the lower levels, Sam said quietly. Want to see what this place really looks like? Jake nodded. He had been walking normally for a week now, and Zaravel said he would be released in just a few more days. If he was going to learn the truth, it had to be now. Sam led him through a service door behind the main medical bay. They crawled through narrow tunnels filled with pipes and wires. The air was hot and smelled like machine oil. The research levels are directly below us, Sam whispered as they crawled. I've been mapping the station for months looking for answers. They climbed down a long ladder into darkness. Sam turned on a small light that barely cut through the shadows around them. This is the first research level, Sam said. I'm supposed to be here, so we should be safe. Jake saw laboratories through thick glass windows. Cathani scientists worked at strange machines that hummed and glowed. In one lab, a scientist was studying what looked like human tissue under a powerful microscope. What are they doing? Analyzing human biological samples, blood, skin, bone fragments. Sam's voice was grim. But that's not the worst part. They moved deeper into the level, staying in the shadows between the bright laboratories. Sam stopped at a maintenance panel and started working on some wires. While I do this, look through that window, Sam said, pointing to a large observation window. Jake pressed his face against the glass and looked down into the level below. What he saw made his blood turn cold. The room was huge, filled with dozens of medical pods. Each pod held a human being. Some were awake, staring at the ceiling with empty eyes. Others appeared to be unconscious. All of them had injuries similar to what Jake had suffered. Oh my God, Jake whispered. Keep looking, Sam said without turning from his work. Jake watched as Cathani doctors moved between the pods, taking measurements and samples. One human, a woman with short red hair, was awake and seemed to be screaming, but no sound came through the thick glass. In another pod, a man who looked like he had been there for months was trying to sit up. His leg was obviously broken, but instead of healing it, the doctors seemed to be keeping it broken on purpose. They're not healing them, Jake said, his voice shaking. They're keeping them injured. Now you're starting to understand. Sam finished his work and closed the maintenance panel. We need to get out of here before someone sees us. But as they turned to leave, bright lights suddenly filled the tunnel. Dr. Vex Newell stood at the tunnel entrance with 4 security guards. He was tall like Zaravel, but his silver skin looked harder, like armor. His black eyes showed no kindness. Mr. Torres, you are not authorized to be on this level, Dr. Vex Newell said in perfect human language. And Mr. Miller, you should be in your recovery bed. The security guards moved forward. Jake noticed they were carrying weapons that glowed with blue energy. We were just checking the air systems, Sam said, but his voice shook. No, Mr. Torres, you were showing our research facility to our newest test subject. Dr. Vex Newell stepped closer. This is very unfortunate timing. Test subject? Jake asked, though he already knew the answer. Yes, Mr. Miller. Did you really think your engine failure was an accident? Did you believe we were healing you from the goodness of our hearts? Dr. Vex Null's antennae moved in what Jake now realized was amusement, not kindness. You sabotaged my ship. We have been studying human biology for 2 years now. What we have discovered is remarkable beyond our wildest theories. Dr. Vex Null gestured toward the observation window. Humans possess medical recovery abilities that other species can only dream of. Jake looked down at the humans in the pods, again. So you keep them injured to study how they heal. Precisely. We have learned to synthesize compounds from human recovery processes. These compounds can heal injuries in other species that were previously impossible to treat. Dr. Vex Null seemed proud of his work. A single human's healing factors can be worth millions of credits to the right buyer. You're torturing people for money. We are advancing medical science. The Thorian Empire pays enormous sums for treatments that can heal their warriors quickly. The Vegan Trade Union wants compounds that can help their people survive in hostile environments. Dr. Vex Newell moved closer. Even species that have been enemies for centuries work together when it comes to obtaining human biological secrets. Sam stepped forward. You can't do this. When other humans find out. Dr. Vex Newell made a sound that might have been laughter. Other humans do not know where you are. Mr. Miller's ship was reported as lost in space. Mr. Torres signed a work contract that prevents him from leaving for 5 years. Jake felt anger building in his chest. Zaravel, does she know about this? Nurse. Zaravel was assigned to your case specifically because she opposed our research methods. We thought having a sympathetic caretaker would make you more cooperative. Dr. Vex Null's antennae twitched. However, she has proven to be more trouble than we expected. Before Jake could ask what that meant, Zaravel's voice came from behind Dr. Vex Null. Because I have been sending reports to human authorities for 3 months. Everyone turned to see Zaravel standing in the tunnel entrance, but she was not alone. Behind her stood a human woman in a medical uniform, and 3 humans in military clothes. Dr. Lisa Carter, Human Medical Corps, the woman announced, and Commander Alex Stone, Human Defense Force. This facility is now under investigation for crimes against human citizens. Dr. Vex Null's security guards raised their weapons, but Commander Stone and his soldiers were faster. Blue energy bolts filled the tunnel, but the humans' weapons were stronger. In the chaos, Zaravel ran to Jake's side. I am so sorry, Jake Miller. I never wanted to hurt you or any human. When I learned what they were really doing, I contacted your people. You saved us, Jake said. Dr. Carter, Zaravel said to the human doctor. The research data is stored in the main computers. Everything they learned from human subjects is there. Dr. Carter nodded grimly. We'll need to examine all the human subjects immediately. How many are there? 43 in total, Zaravel said. Some have been here for over a year. Jake looked through the observation window again. The humans in the pods were looking up with hope in their eyes. Some were crying, others were trying to sit up. We're going to get you out of here, Jake called down to them, pressing his hands against the glass. All of you. You're going home. Commander Stone was speaking into a communication device. This is Stone. We need medical evacuation ships immediately. We have dozens of human civilians who need immediate care. Dr. Vex Null and his remaining guards were in restraints now. The doctor looked at Jake with his large black eyes. You do not understand the significance of what you are destroying, he said. Human healing abilities could benefit the entire galaxy. Your species could save millions of lives. Jake walked over to face him. Not by torturing innocent people. If humans want to help, we'll help. But we'll do it our way, with our permission, and as partners, not test subjects. Dr. Carter was already working on opening the pods in the room below. Jake, Zaravel tells me you've been here for 3 weeks. How do you feel? Jake thought about it. Better than I did before the crash, actually. Stronger. That's what we expected. Your medical scans show significant improvements in bone density, muscle mass, and immune system function. Dr. Carter looked amazed. The trauma seems to have triggered accelerated healing processes that left you enhanced rather than just repaired. Zaravel nodded. This is what made human subjects so valuable to Dr. Vex Null. Humans do not just recover from injury, they become stronger. Jake looked around at the rescue operation, at the humans being freed from their prison pods, at Zaravel, who had risked everything to save them. What happens now? He asked. Commander Stone smiled. Now, Mr. Miller, the galaxy learns that humans are not victims to be exploited. We are partners to be respected. 6 hours later, Jake stood in the main command center of the human rescue ship. Through the large windows, he could see more human ships arriving at the Cathani station. The small medical facility was now surrounded by the largest human fleet ever assembled in this part of space. How many ships? Jake asked Commander Stone. 23 so far, with more coming. When word got out about what happened here, every human colony wanted to send help. Commander Stone was reading reports on his tablet. We've also got messages from 12 different alien species asking to meet with us. Dr. Lisa Carter approached, them looking tired but excited. Jake, I need to share something important with you. The medical scans we took of you and the other rescued humans show remarkable results. What kind of results? Your body has not just healed from your injuries. You've experienced what we can only call evolutionary acceleration. Dr. Carter showed him charts on her device. Your bone density is 30% higher than normal. Your muscle fibers are denser and stronger. Your immune system is producing antibodies for diseases that humans have never encountered before. Jake looked at the charts. Is that good or bad? It's incredible. The stress and trauma you experienced seems to have triggered advanced adaptation responses. Some of the other rescued humans show even more dramatic changes. Dr. Carter's eyes were bright with scientific excitement. One pilot has developed enhanced reflexes that are nearly superhuman. A mechanic shows improved cognitive function and memory retention. Sam Torres walked over to join them. Like Jake, he had been examined by Dr. Carter's team. She's not kidding, Jake. I took some tests and I'm solving engineering problems that would have taken me hours before. What does this mean for us? Jake asked. Commander Stone answered. It means the galaxy is about to learn that humans are much more remarkable than anyone realized. But it also means we have some difficult decisions to make. Over the next day, representatives from various alien species began arriving at the station. The Thorian Empire sent a delegation of their highest-ranking generals. The Vegan Trade Union sent their most skilled negotiators. Even species that rarely left their homeworld sent messages asking to open communications with humanity. Jake found himself in the unusual position of being a symbol of human resilience. News of his story had spread throughout human space, and everyone wanted to meet the cargo pilot who had uncovered the secret research program. But it was his conversation with Zaravel that affected him most. She had been cleared of any wrongdoing by both human and Cathani investigators. In fact, her secret reports had been crucial in organizing the rescue mission. Now she sat across from Jake in the station's cafeteria, her large black eyes filled with sadness. My people are ashamed of what Dr. Vex Newell did, she said. The Cathani Council has expelled him and his research team from our society. What will happen to you? I do not know. I can never return to Cathani space after betraying our research facility, but I could not stand by and watch humans suffer for our scientific curiosity. Her antennae drooped. I have no home now. Jake thought about this for a moment. Maybe you could find a new home. Where would I go? No species trusts the Cathani. After what we did, the humans trust you. You saved dozens of lives by reporting the truth. Before Zaravel could respond, Dr. Carter approached their table. Jake, Zaravel, I have a proposal for both of you. They looked up at her expectantly. The Human Medical Consortium is forming a new research partnership with ethical alien scientists. We want to study human healing abilities, but properly this time, with full consent, fair compensation, and human oversight. Dr. Carter sat down. We need someone who understands both human and alien biology to lead the project. You want me to be a test subject again? Jake asked. Not a test subject. A partner. You would help design the research protocols, make sure human volunteers are treated ethically, and share in any profits from medical breakthroughs. Dr. Carter turned to Zaravel. And we need alien medical experts who understand the ethical implications of biological research. Zaravel's antennae perked up. You would trust me to work with human subjects? You risked everything to protect humans when your own people were exploiting them. I can't think of anyone I'd trust more. Jake looked around the cafeteria. Rescued humans were sitting with their alien rescuers, sharing meals and stories. Cathani, medical staff who had opposed Dr. Vex Null's research, were working alongside human doctors to care for the recovered prisoners. What about the other alien species? The ones who were buying human biological compounds? Commander Stone, who had been listening from a nearby table, joined the conversation. That's the interesting part. Now that they know humans are intelligent, partners rather than resources to be harvested, most of them want to negotiate proper agreements. Negotiate for what? Medical partnerships. The Thorian Empire wants to hire human doctors to treat their warriors. The Vegan Trade Union wants to establish joint research stations to study human adaptation abilities. Commander Stone smiled. Turns out when you treat people as equals instead of test subjects, they're much more willing to help. Dr. Carter nodded. We've already had 3 species offer to share their advanced medical technology in exchange for human cooperation in healing research. technologies that could help humans survive in deep space, resist radiation, even extend lifespan. Jake thought about his cargo pilot job, flying alone through empty space carrying boxes from one station to another. This would be different from cargo hauling. Very different. You'd be representing humanity in a new kind of galactic relationship, one based on mutual respect and shared benefit instead of exploitation. Zaravel looked uncertain. But I am Cathani. Other aliens may not trust me because of what my people did, which is exactly why we need you, Dr. Carter said. You can help other species understand that ethical cooperation benefits everyone more than exploitation. You can be an example of how former enemies can become trusted allies. Over the following week, Jake watched as the situation around the station transformed completely. Human ships brought supplies and personnel to establish a permanent research facility. Alien species sent their best medical experts to propose collaboration projects. The rescued humans were given choices about their future. Some wanted to return home immediately. Others, inspired by their experience, volunteered to participate in new ethical research programs. A few, like the mechanic with enhanced cognitive abilities, chose to become researchers themselves. Jake made his decision while watching the construction of the new joint research station. Human and alien workers labored side by side, building something that would benefit the entire galaxy. I'll do it, he told Dr. Carter. I'll help establish the new medical partnership program. And I accept your offer as well, Zaravel said. I want to help ensure that what happened here never happens again. Commander Stone clasped Jake's shoulder. The galaxy is about to learn something important about humanity. We don't just survive adversity, we transform it into opportunity. Jake looked out at the stars, thinking about his old life hauling cargo through empty space. That life had been quiet and safe, but also lonely and small. This new life would be dangerous and uncertain, but it would matter in ways he had never imagined. When do we start? He asked. 1 year later, Jake Miller stood on the bridge of the newest human diplomatic vessel, watching as 3 different alien fleets approached from different directions. The ship was called the Unity, and it carried the most diverse crew in galactic history. Thorian delegation is requesting permission to board, announced Lisa Carter, who now served as both the ship's chief medical officer and Jake's wife of 3 months. Vegan trade union ships are also ready to dock, added Sam Torres from the engineering station. His enhanced cognitive abilities had made him one of the best starship engineers in human space. Jake nodded to both of them, then turned to his communications officer. Zaravel, please tell all delegations they are welcome aboard. Zaravel, now wearing a uniform that combined human and Cathani designs, activated the ship's communication system. Her role as alien liaison had made her one of the most respected beings in the galaxy. All delegations, this is the Unity. You are cleared for boarding. Today's meeting will begin in 1 hour in the main conference room. Jake looked out at the stars. A year ago, he had been a simple cargo pilot with a broken-down ship. Now he was humanity's chief ambassador for medical cooperation, and today's meeting would establish the largest medical research alliance in galactic history. The rescued humans from the Cathani station had become symbols of human resilience throughout the galaxy. Their stories of survival and recovery had changed how every alien species viewed humanity. More importantly, the enhanced abilities they had developed during their captivity had proven that humans were far more adaptable than anyone had realized. Jake, the Thorian general is here, Lisa announced as the conference room doors opened. General Crix Tor was 8 feet tall and covered in thick red fur. His species had been warriors for thousands of years, but now they limped in with injuries that never fully healed. He approached Jake with deep respect. Ambassador Miller, my people are honored to work with humans. Our warriors have suffered from battle wounds that cripple them for life. Your healing research offers hope we have not had for generations. Next came the Vegan delegation led by Ambassador Silnex. The Vegas were small and blue, with 4 arms and large heads that held incredibly advanced brains. But their bodies were fragile and struggled to survive outside their carefully controlled homeworlds. Ambassador Miller, The trade union is prepared to share our environmental adaptation technologies in exchange for human biological resilience research. Together, we can help both our species thrive in hostile environments. The meeting continued as more species arrived. The Kethani Council sent their most senior medical experts, seeking to rebuild their reputation through ethical cooperation. The Nexus Collective, machine beings who had never understood biological healing, came to learn how organic recovery could improve their repair systems. Each species brought unique technologies and knowledge. In exchange, they wanted to learn from human healing abilities and participate in the research programs that had grown out of the original rescue mission. "Friends," Jake said as the meeting began. "1 year ago, some of you saw humans as resources to be exploited. Today, we gather as equals to share knowledge that will benefit everyone." Dr. Carter presented the latest research findings. The enhanced humans from the station had been studied extensively, always as volunteers with full knowledge and fair compensation. The results were remarkable. "Human biological adaptability appears to be unique in the galaxy," she explained. "When faced with trauma or environmental pressure, human bodies don't just heal. They evolve rapidly to become stronger and more resistant to future threats." General Crixtor leaned forward. "Can this ability be shared with other species?" "Not directly, but we can create medical treatments based on human healing factors that help other species recover from injuries more effectively." Dr. Carter activated a holographic display. "Thorian warriors treated with human-derived healing compounds have shown 50% faster recovery times and much stronger bones after healing." Ambassador Silnek spoke up. "And environmental adaptation? Humans exposed to hostile environments develop resistance much faster than other species. We're working on treatments that can help Vegas survive in a wider range of planetary conditions." Dr. Carter smiled. "In return, vegan atmospheric processing technology is helping humans establish colonies on worlds we previously thought uninhabitable." The meeting continued for hours, with each species sharing discoveries and proposing new collaborative projects. But the most important moment came when Zaravel presented the ethical framework that now governed all research. Every human participant must volunteer freely, with full knowledge of the research goals. Every participant receives fair compensation for their contribution. Every participant can leave the program at any time. Her antennae moved in what Jake now knew was determination. And every breakthrough must be shared with all Alliance species, not hoarded by the researchers who discover it. General Crixtor nodded approvingly. "This is the way of honorable beings, far superior to the exploitation practiced by Dr. Vex Null." The mention of the disgraced Kethani researcher reminded everyone of how far they had come. Dr. Vex Null was now imprisoned on a prison world, serving a life sentence for crimes against intelligent beings. His research had been destroyed, and the unethical compounds derived from human suffering had been banned throughout civilized space. As the formal meeting ended, Jake found himself alone with Lisa and Zaravel on the observation deck. "Do you ever miss the simple life?" Lisa asked, taking his hand. "Just flying cargo from station to station?" Jake thought about it. "Sometimes. It was peaceful, but it was also lonely and small. And now I wake up every morning knowing that what we do matters. Humans are establishing colonies on worlds that would have killed us before. Thorian warriors are returning to their families instead of dying from battle wounds. Vegan traders are exploring parts of the galaxy they could never survive in before." Zaravel's antennae moved in what Jake had learned was contentment. And former enemies worked together as friends. "Speaking of which," Lisa said with a smile, "I have news." Jake and Zaravel looked at her expectantly. "The Centauri colony has requested a permanent medical research station. They want to study how humans adapt to high-gravity worlds." Lisa's eyes sparkled. "They've asked for you specifically, Jake. Your recovery data from the station is still the most complete example of human adaptive healing they have." "Another research project?" "A permanent assignment. They want to establish a family colony where human researchers can live and work long-term while studying adaptation." Lisa squeezed his hand. "A place where we could build a real home." Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, former prisoners from the Cathani station were living new lives, using their enhanced abilities to help their communities. Sam was designing better ships that could carry families to distant worlds. Other rescued humans had become doctors, researchers, and ambassadors, spreading throughout the galaxy. What do you think, Zaravel? Ready for another adventure? I go. Where I am needed most, she replied. And it appears you will need an experienced alien liaison on Centauri colony. Jake smiled. Then we accept the assignment. As the Unity prepared to depart for its next mission, Jake stood at the bridge viewport watching the alien fleets disperse to their home worlds. Each ship carried new medical technologies, new research partnerships, and new hope for their people. Galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. Humans didn't just survive adversity, they transformed it into strength. They didn't just recover from trauma, they used it to become better than they were before. But more importantly, humans had learned something about themselves. They were not victims to be exploited or conquerors to dominate others. They were partners in the great adventure of galactic civilization, using their unique gifts to help everyone reach higher than they could alone. Course laid in for Centauri colony, Sam reported from the navigation station. Take us home, Jake said. As the Unity jumped to faster-than-light travel, Jake reflected on the journey that had brought him here. A year ago, he had thought the alien nurse was healing him for free. He had been wrong about her intentions, but in the best possible way. Zaravel hadn't been trying to exploit him. She had been trying to save him, and through him save her own people's honor. Her true intentions had been to build bridges between species, to transform conflict into cooperation, to turn a place of suffering into a beacon of hope. And that, Jake realized, was the most human thing of all, taking something broken and making it better than it had ever been before. The Unity sailed toward the stars, carrying its crew of humans and aliens toward a future none of them could have imagined. But whatever challenges awaited them, Jake knew they would face them together, as partners in the great work of building a better galaxy for everyone. Behind them, the former site of Dr. Vex Newell's research station now housed the Alliance Medical Institute, where beings from dozens of species worked together to heal the injured and sick throughout the galaxy. It stood as a monument to the truth that cooperation was always stronger than exploitation, and that the greatest discoveries came from treating others as equals rather than resources. In the end, that was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, not their remarkability,